SAI, Social Explainable Artificial Intelligence, is a 3-year project. It is funded under the European CHIST-ERA Project and involves leading research institutions in Italy, in Austria, in the UK, in Poland, in Estonia, and in Bulgaria. So the main ambition of SAI is to lay the foundations of one of the next waves of artificial intelligence that, in our vision, will be distributed, will be human-centric, and will be explainable. So if you think how artificial intelligence works today, it is pretty much centralized, which means that all the data, for example, the data that are collected on your smartphone, have to be stored and analyzed in a central location in the internet, typically a big data center of some of the big players like Google or Amazon, in order for information to be extracted out of it. It is becoming evident that this doesn't work anymore. And there is consensus in the research community that one of the next waves of artificial intelligence will be completely distributed, meaning that there will be little pieces of artificial intelligence in each and every devices at the periphery of the network. Somehow it is already like that. When you type something in your Google keyboard and you see an autocompletion, this is a piece of AI that works in the background. But the idea of SAI is that this distribution of AI will be much, much more pervasive in the next future. And this poses extremely exciting research challenges that we want to address. The first one is that the SAI systems will be human-centric. What does it mean? It means that because there will be a little piece of AI running on my smartphone, on my tablet, on the temperature sensor in my room, that piece of AI will be very, very tightly connected to me as a human being. And therefore, it has to interpret and anticipate my requests, my needs, my way of managing the data that it will be exposed to. So SAI will be human-centric. The second big challenge is understanding and studying the interaction, the complex interactions between those little pieces of AI that will be dispersed in the environment. This is a very big problem. On the one hand, again, there is a human dimension, because since those pieces of AI will be so tight with their human users, their interactions, and this is a challenge in SAI, will be driven also by the social relationships between the users. So, for example, if my smartphone receives some information from the smartphone of my best friend, this has been taken in very, very good account. Otherwise, if it is received the same information for the first person passing by on the street, the weight, the importance of this information will be totally different. So SAI ambition is to take that into consideration and to understand the properties of a system that is built like that. And the second dimension of the interaction is understanding the so-called emergent properties. So what comes out when you make these little pieces of AI interacting between each other in a completely uncontrolled way? So what is the emergent properties? Will those pieces of AI all think the same? So there will be a unique model that will prevail at the global level, or there will be regions where one model will consolidate and another model, a totally different one, another totally different model, meaning another way of addressing the same problem, will be prevailing in a different environment over a different groups of devices. And the last challenge is explainability. What we want to achieve is a system that is explainable. What does it mean? It means that when an AI system in general gives a suggestion or takes a decision, the reason why this is the result of the elaborations must be completely clear and understandable to the user in order to increase the trustworthiness of the AI system. So achieving explainability and trust is already very challenging when you consider a single piece of AI working in isolation, like what is doing my smartphone. It is tremendously more challenging when you consider an ecosystem like SAI, where there are multiple pieces of the AI that interact with each other and come to a global decision collectively. These are the three challenges, the three scientific challenges that we want to address in SAI. They can lay the foundation for the next wave of artificial intelligence. We will develop them in the course of the next 3 years, so if you are interested, stay tuned.